What's up, everyone? Welcome to Beyond the Court, episode 14. We are so happy that you're here joining us today. My name is Agent P, also known as Pan, and I am joined by Amir, John, and Nabil as well. Today, we have a special guest in the building, the one and only Sherman Hamilton, NBA analyst for TSN and NBA TV, is joining us today. Sherman Hamilton, raised in Malton, Ontario, played college basketball as a point guard for the VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University Rams from 1994 to 1997. He is a former Canadian professional basketball player and was a longtime member of the Canadian men's national basketball team. As a former Olympian, Sherman played for Canada at the 2000 Summer Olympics, as well as the 1998 and 2002 FIBA World Championships. It should be noted that Canada won 5 of their 7 games during that 2000 Summer Olympic tournament. Sherman finished his professional playing career in Lithuania, playing for EuroLeague side BC Zalgiris in 2001 to 2002. He has been an analyst and a national team assistant coach. Since the 2008 to 2009 season, Sherman has provided color commentary for Toronto Raptors games on NBA TV Canada as well. Welcome to our podcast, Sherman.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us, Sherman. And so just to start off, how are you doing during the time of the pandemic and amidst everything that's going on?
I'm doing okay, guys. I mean, it's been difficult. It's been a big adjustment for everybody, and on top of that, we have the social injustices that are rearing its ugly head again. So there's a lot going on, but you got to stay positive. You got to keep on thinking forward, and you got to understand that these are things that make up life that you have to deal with, and you have to be able to navigate them and do your best to keep yourself and other people around you as well as possible. So it's difficult, and I know a lot of people are struggling, but we're all in this together, and we're all trying to get through this together. So you just keep on pushing forward and try to do it with a smile. That's all.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of just that messaging of keep on going, keep trudging forward, as difficult as it is, that we just keep the times rolling, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we just want to segue into we all have our own stories on how we were introduced to basketball. What initially drew you to the game to want to pick up a basketball?
I played every sport as a kid. I was just one of those kids that loved to be outside and just wanted to do anything to play and compete with anybody. And basketball came to me a bit later than kids get it now. I picked up basketball when I was about 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was in middle school, and some guys were playing outside and they needed a player. I decided to play, and I found that I just loved the game, and the game came pretty easily to me. So I just dove into it 2 feet and just continued to play basketball. And even though through high school I played every sport you can imagine, I even played on a table tennis team in high school. That's how many teams that I played on in high school. So, but basketball just became my heart and soul, and it became my center when it came to sports. And that's what I played during my free time. Every chance I got, I was picking up a basketball, playing with my friends. We're trying to find a run somewhere so we can play some 5-on-5. We just absorbed by the game. And I'd say grade 6 is when my love affair with basketball began.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I think for each of us, we all had that moment that just stood out for us, as a group. We love growing up and playing basketball. And for the better part of 20 plus years, we've been, trying to find runs and continue to play as long as the body holds up for us as well. Yeah. So it's been an awesome run in that regard as well. Sherman, as a former Olympian, representing Canada basketball on the world stage, alongside covering the Raptors for some time as well, could you walk us through how you felt, when the final buzzer sounded and the Raptors were finally able to hoist that NBA championship last season?
It was a culmination of a lot of feelings. You're talking about, understanding that when I was coming up, there was no NBA in Toronto. There was no NBA in Canada. So seeing that come to Canada and then seeing it years later, the Raptors winning a trophy and a championship, it's pretty impressive. Then you factor in the fact that, I had no intentions of getting involved in broadcasting. It just kind of happened. And when it happened, I didn't expect it to be this long, and it ended up being now 18 seasons. So that factors into it as well. And then to understand that, it's one thing to be a fan, but it's another thing to have to talk about this team, especially when they were winning 22 games in a season.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about trying to make things seem like there was hope and there was a reason to believe at that point. And there obviously was. Every team can turn around very quickly, as we saw with Kawhi Leonard coming to Toronto in terms of the leap that the Raptors made.
Right.
But having said that, there were some difficult times, and it kind of validates all of that. It gives you that, you did it for a reason. And see, here it is. Now there's a champion in Toronto.
Exactly.
But the biggest part about it for me, guys, is, coming from Toronto, coming from Canada, playing basketball through the system and playing for the national team and just being absorbed by the game and loving the game so much, to see our country be able to have the joy and the relief and the ability to say, hey, we told you we could do it in Canada. It's just an amazing thing. And it was just one of those moments. And I'll be honest with you, it was surreal to me until ring night. There were times during the summer, last summer, where I was like, did the Raptors really win? Because this doesn't make sense right now, But when they had the ring ceremony, the beginning of this season, it was one of those, okay, yeah, this is real. Here's the ring to prove it. And the Raptors are the champs.
Awesome.
No doubt, no doubt. We can't take that away. And like you mentioned with the Raptors and that difficult road that it took, in your bio, it was mentioned that you worked as an assistant with the national team. What in your eyes do you think Basketball Canada has to do to build a solid roster that can kind of compete with the juggernauts like the US and Spain in the future?
Well, first of all, this is not a question of talent. We have amazing talent in our country.
Mm-hmm.
Our talent needs some seasoning. It needs some development in terms of the reps in the international game together as units to understand how to compete in that form of basketball. But this is not a talent issue anymore. Canada has more than enough talent to compete at the highest level in the world and to be in podium discussions every time they hit the floor. I think there's got to be more consistency with the program. I believe that these guys need to understand or need to believe that the program is something that they need to dedicate certain blocks of their time to, and understand that there are going to be some situations that aren't going to be favorable all the time, but just know that if they commit and if they are continually committing, they create a legacy. They create a path of other NBA players understanding, just like the U.S. had to do. They had to get guys to buy in to chunks of time over a quadrennial period where they were going to commit to the program and give what they could. We need to see some of that with the Canadian players as well. And the program itself has to do a better job of making sure that these players are given what they need, are understanding to these players. And at the end of the day, it's about loyalty.
Yeah.
Guys are going to play for people that they feel that they deserve to play for. And I think it's past the point of just wearing the maple leaf. It's about playing for the people. It's about playing for your country, the person beside you, about playing for the coaches, because these guys have so many options. They have so much money. And to be honest, you can't really get mad at them for saying, hey, I'd rather focus on this part of my basketball career because this is going to take care of me and my family for years to come.
Yep. Right.
Hey, I can't knock that at all.
Definitely.
But there's got to be something that the program has to be able to attach to and engage these guys to understand that, hey, in the summer, this is a part of your routine. You give a certain amount of time to the program to help develop it, to help the younger guys who are coming up in the program understand what it's about.
Yeah. Right. And one thing you mentioned is that commitment and how certain Canadian professional players stick to the NBA. So now, bringing the conversation back to the NBA, how do you feel about the resumption of the NBA, and what do you feel might be a key adjustment that the players may have to make, living in that bubble during these difficult times?
Look, I think that we've got to get back to doing stuff. We've got to get back to living life. We've got to get back to doing it in a safe way where we're doing it under the guidance of the healthcare people in various countries, various cities, and we've got to follow protocol. There's no doubt about it. You can't skip any steps. But we need to get back to some sense of normalcy and some sense of understanding that these are the things that we're used to, and we're going to slowly integrate them back into our lives safely with the right type of protocol. So the NBA wanting to start up, to me, is a good thing. It's one of those things where as long as they continue to be careful and make sure that they don't overstep their reach or try to do things for the wrong reasons or are misinformed about things, I think they'll be fine. And they've done a great job of making sure that they've been in contact with the healthcare professionals. They've made sure that they followed everything to a T. You're not going to be able to control everything. This is one of those situations where there's a lot of wild cards. There's a lot of things that could derail the situation, but you can only do what you can. I have this saying, you control the controllables or else the uncontrollables will control you. So they've just got to control what they can control. And those uncontrollables, they're going to have to react to. They're going to have to make swift decisions, but it's all got to be in the safety and concern of the players and those involved in that bubble. I just think that, the NBA, to me, is something that a lot of people want to see. A lot of people want to see basketball.
For sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
Let's just face it. A lot of people want to see basketball. And it's I hope they're able to execute it. I hope they're able to get the job done. But it'll be interesting because there's a lot of things that could derail this bubble in the snap of a finger, and there's nothing they can do about it. They're aware of that. Adam Silver has done a very good job of being very aware and very open and honest about knowing that he can't control everything, and he's willing, if needs be, to shut it down if things go sideways.
Right. Well said.
Right. Definitely. Like you said, you have to kind of be open, if there's any sort of change. But continuing along those lines, if everything goes well, we pray all the players stay safe and healthy. What do you think are the chances that the Raptors have this year in possibly repeating? And along those lines, like, who do you think might be the Raptors' biggest X factor during this whole resumption of the NBA?
Well, I think the Raptors have as good a chance as anybody at winning another championship in terms of, the team that is presently constituted, the way they were playing going into this lockdown situation. They were on another level, and their confidence was sky high. And, coming back to it, the continuity, that championship rub that you have, understanding what it takes to get there, and then knowing that, hey, these guys have been there. They know what the battles are like. They understand that it's not about the ebbs and flows. It's about the consistency that they play with and how much they come together. And from all indications, everybody has done a great job of keeping it together during this lockdown phase and making sure that they're in great shape. So I'm pretty confident that this team can compete with anybody. And I know the pundits south of the border don't really give the Raptors much love when it comes to a potential champion, but I think they're right up there with the Lakers and the Clippers. And, there's a lot of discussion about the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, the Raptors have handled the Bucks every time they faced them. Exactly. So I'm not really looking at the Bucks as something better than the Raptors. The Bucks can compete. The Bucks can win a championship too, but the Raptors are right there. And in terms of the teams that I feel in this condensed part of the season and the playoffs that can compete, it's the regular teams. It's the Lakers. It's the Clippers. Houston, an outside chance. Milwaukee from the East. The Raptors are right there as well. So it's the usual suspects, but the Raptors are right there, guys, in my estimation.
Agreed.
I think nonetheless, it'll be exciting to see, the return of the season and pray that everything goes well. I guess we're going to shoot it over now into the rapid fire session for you, if you're okay with that, Sherman.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So we have here just some quick Fab Five, if we can. Let's start this one off with what was your favorite memory during the 2000 Summer Olympics?
My favorite memory wasn't even on the court. It was opening ceremonies when you walk out there and you have the chance to kind of be on TV and everyone in Canada is looking at all the members of the Olympic team. And I had my old school video recorder was like this big, and I had it, and I was turning around, and I was just videotaping everything.
Just in the moment, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
taking
enjoying it. And the great thing was, I talked to my mother, and my mother said she saw me.
Oh,
no way.
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
I mean,
That's
you know,
wicked.
That's
for
priceless.
my mother to be able to see me at the Olympics and know how hard I worked to get there, and you know, with her support and everything, it's a pretty special moment for her to be able to say, my son made it to the Olympics.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
So I know you picked up basketball a little bit later, but who was your favorite player when you're growing up?
All right, you guys, obviously Michael Jordan was the man to everybody, including me. But I had specific guys that I wanted to play like.
Okay.
And those two guys aren't guys that anybody talks about on this level. The first guy was Joe Dumars from the Detroit Pistons, the
Okay.
Bad Boys.
Nice.
He was just a consummate two-way player. You know, he could defend, he could score. He played alongside a star in Isaiah Thomas, but he did all the nitty-gritty stuff as well as had the finesse to give you buckets whenever you wanted it.
Exactly.
Right.
And the other guy was someone who nobody talks about. It's Kevin Johnson from the Phoenix Suns.
KJ.
Nice.
Yeah, smaller point guard and had
he
some
gets
bounce,
lost.
but he could give you some buckets at the
Yeah,
drop
man.
of a dime, and he could raise up and give it to you. So
Exactly.
the combination of Joe Dumars and Kevin Johnson, those were the two guys that I really wanted to be able to play like on some level. Because as much as we love Jordan, nobody's playing like Michael Jordan. It's just not realistic. But I could take a little bit from Kevin Johnson, a little bit from Joe Dumars, and I could figure some things out on my own. So those were the two guys that I tried to pattern my games after.
Nice.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Okay, great choices. All right, number 3 here. Who's your favorite teammate of all time that you've played alongside with, and why is that?
My favorite teammate of all time. That's a great question. There's guys in college that I could talk about. Olympic team, obviously, Steve Nash was an amazing teammate and somebody who I had a lot of success with. Professionally, there are some guys overseas. I'd say Steve probably because we went through a lot of wars, and I have known Steve since he was 16 years old. And from competing against him to trying to fight for the same spot to starting beside him, like we have this history of just always being in situations where we had to battle for time and possession. So I just thought that his competitive level really helped me and elevated my game and allowed me to understand the ability to compete at a high level consistently. He was a prime example of that. So it was great going up against him, but even more pleasurable playing with him and being able to have some success with our national team.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, so in no particular order, can I get your NBA Mount Rushmore and your Raptors Mount Rushmore?
All right, my NBA Mount Rushmore, obviously Michael Jordan. Do I have to limit this? Can I just go on for a few?
you can give it how many you feel like.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You're
Because I got to
Rushmore.
take it back. I got to take it back to the Bill Russells and the Wilt Chamberlain and the Oscar Robertsons. And then I move it forward to the Michael Jordans, the Larry Birds, the Magic Johnsons. And then you bounce forward again to some Kobe Bryant, some Tim Duncan. And then you jump forward again to the LeBron James, the Kevin Durant. You know, there's just so many people that I could put on that Mount Rushmore. And those are the top. And then you have those guys who are just a tier under them that are phenomenal players as well. The Kevin Garnetts of the world, guys like that. Grant Hill, if he ever stayed healthy, I think he would have been one of the most amazing players the league had ever seen. So, but those first 6 or 7, 8 guys that I mentioned, those guys would go on my Mount Rushmore. Those guys not only changed the game on the court, they changed the game off the court as well. And that to me can't be understated in terms of their impact globally on the game of basketball and on young people trying to figure out who they wanted to be with the game of basketball.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
These aren't really rapid fire answers.
No, it's
Okay,
all
so how about
good.
your
It's
Raptors?
awesome. Yeah.
Your Raptors Mount Rushmore. Then.
Oh, right. My Raptors Mount Rushmore. I give Antonio Davis. I put him on the list. T-Mac, obviously. Vince, no question about it. Kawhi, for his one season, deserves a spot. But, guys, the leader on this list, and it's not because of talent, it's just because of determination and winning and leadership, is Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
100%.
He's been,
for sure.
you know, we can talk about MVPs or guys who put, like Kawhi Leonard is the most talented player that the Raptors have ever had in terms of my estimation in his prime, because Akeem was a part of the Raptors, but
Yeah.
he was kind of past
Yeah.
his prime.
Yeah, past that
Yeah.
prime.
Yeah, I got tail end.
Vince Carter deserves a huge amount of respect for his timing and what he did for the game of basketball in Canada, and also putting the Raptors on the map, because he was must-see TV. I don't care how you feel about him. When you heard Vince was on, you turned the TV on. I'll tell you what, guys, I was playing overseas, and every week we get NBA action. And there would be anywhere from 2 to 5 of the top 5 plays of the week that would involve Vince Carter and or Tracy McGrady.
Right.
So the world was getting to see the Raptors before the Raptor fans even knew it was happening, because I was in parts of the world that nobody's going to. So I just think Vince was very important. But when you talk about, and actually, you know what, throw DeMar in there as well.
Yeah.
DeMar did some great things for the franchise, and he was one of the guys that I think really tugged on the heartstrings when he got traded, because of his desire to compete as a Raptor. He loved the city, he loved the country, he loved the team, and he left it on the floor for the Raptors. And it's very rare that you see a star say, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay in Toronto. So you give him Chris Bosh a little bit as well. But Kyle Lowry, in terms of impacting winning, in terms of growing into a leadership role, in terms of making big plays on both sides of the basketball, look, he's at the top of my list right now.
Yeah.
If there's a jersey to be retired first, it should be Kyle's.
Thank you.
Agreed.
I think we all agree
We
there.
had this
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
argument on one of the previous episodes, and basically we all agreed, like, Kyle Lowry, DeMar, and Vince. Those are the first, like, but I think you got to do Kyle first.
Yeah.
Kyle
Definitely.
has to be. Absolutely. Okay, and just a general question here for you. If you could give some advice to us and the viewers, what's the best piece of advice that you've received, and if you could share with us?
Period, in life and basketball, what are we talking about?
Just in general, if you give us some of your expertise, I guess.
Oh wow, I'm still a work in progress, guys. I'm trying to figure it out myself. The best advice I would say that I was given is that you never know what people are going through. So you just don't know what saying hi, a smile, saying thank you, just checking in and saying, hey, how you're doing. You just never know what that means to somebody at a certain moment with whatever they're going through. So, the idea of isolating and having to go through this quarantine really elevated that, and knowing that, hey, people are struggling every day, and you just never know what just getting eye contact and saying hi to somebody or smiling at somebody, and
Right.
you just don't know what it'll do. And I just think that sometimes that's taken for granted or overlooked. But I was told this a while ago, you never know what people are going through and how much a small gesture can impact their life in a positive way. So that would probably be the best information I've gotten in a long time.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sherman, for sharing that real advice, that awesome and inspirational but real advice to us as well, and to those listening. Where can our viewers and listeners stay connected to what you're doing as an NBA analyst, and even on your social media? What are some things that you can plug and promote that's upcoming on your end as well?
Well, I've never been the biggest social media guy. I have a Twitter handle at Sherman Hamilton, same thing for Instagram. But I've never really been a big guy on social media. But whenever I do say something, that's where it'll be.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure out the NBA season and to figure out how we get back to work and in this new way of doing things, which is going to be very different. But it'd be refreshing to be able to start to talk about basketball again in a meaningful way, and just get some competition out there. And the other thing is, throughout this process, what can't get lost in the shuffle is the societal issues that we're having with social injustices. It just, as much as we want to see basketball, we want to see the things we love come back, this cannot get left behind. This has to stay at the forefront. The discussion can't be quenched. And it's something that each of us individually has to make a concerted effort to make a difference, to make a decision to change it in our own way. And as long as we all commit to that in an ongoing way, we'll start to see the different changes that we want to see. And we'll see society overall start to improve in ways we've never imagined. We have to fight for this collectively and individually. And as long as we don't stop, we'll get the changes that we want.
Definitely.
Definitely.
That's a great
Awesome.
answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sherman, just for spending the time and taking the time to spend time with us. And we hope we can do this again in the future.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. It was a great time. And let's do it again, guys. You all take care.
Awesome. Take care,
Thank you
Sherman.
so much.
There
Thank
you
you.
guys
All
have
right.
it, guys, as episode 14 of Beyond the Court comes to a close with our special guest, Sherman Hamilton, former professional basketball player, Canadian Olympian, and current NBA analyst. Thank you so much once again, Sherman, for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button. We'll also have the details of what Sherman just mentioned in the video description below with his Twitter and his Instagram handle. And thanks so much, everyone. Take care, be safe, and stay blessed.